It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. That's who I am. We know who you are. You're the audience that listens to the Opperman Report. And I'll get our roles here straight. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. If you email me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. And if you like our show, check out the Patreon, the Opperman Report Patreon. By the way, tomorrow's I think the first day of March, right? I think we only have 28 days in February. I'm only 63 years old and learning how the calendar works. I'm still working on it. It's so true, though, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, tomorrow's the 1st of March, so that's when I get my Patreon check, okay? So please, guys, if you want to join Patreon, this is the time to do it. So I see a little motivate me to go another day, go another week, come back next week, okay? Because I'm especially going to need some the health is really bad, guys. Okay, I need a little help here. Okay, we've known each other a while. Okay, God, anyway, let's move on. Patreon, and also too with the Patreon, check it out. That I got in there what I was going to call it, the Hunter Biden, the Epstein Binder Part 1 that was released by Pam Bondi there with some kind of crazy cover letter to it where she's complaining to Kash Patel that, hey, where's the stuff? You're supposed to send me there, Kash. I want it by Friday morning, 8 a.m. on my desk. And Friday morning's come and gone. And no new documents. There's nothing new in that nonsense. The only thing it's done is call all these people who rely on me for their Epstein information to contact me. So, hey, what do you think? Anything new in there? Oh, God, give me a break. Oh, God. So, anyway, Like the binder's in there, okay? There's nothing new in there. Trust me. We've seen all that stuff before. I got more stuff, new stuff that I got from Daniel Hanks, man. It's not in there. I should come up with my own binder. These idiots. Binder. Stop been able to binder. But when part 2 of the binder comes out, I'll publish it too. At Peshon. Live show Friday night on Spreaker.com. Go to Spreaker.com. There's a chat room. There's an email notification. We can put up new content. There's I play repeats there every night of the week. So check out Spreaker.com. It's free. Let's see what's going on here. What a crazy day, man. If you haven't seen this Oval audience meeting with Zelensky and Trump, it's the craziest. It's 25th Amendment territory. This guy went nuts. First of all, he starts off, they're talking about these rare minerals, these rare earth resources that we're going to take from their country, right, to pay back this money we gave them. But he keeps calling it raw earth. And everyone in the room, after the second, third time he starts studying, he said, oh, okay, fine. To see, he's having a little brain fart. But then, man, he goes off on a rant. He's screaming about Hunter Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden's bathrobe, or Hunter Biden's bathroom. I couldn't even know what he's talking about. But he just goes off on the 25th Amendment, my friends. Guys, totally out of control. And totally nuts. I'm being invited to go on. I knew this was going to happen, too. I'm being invited to go on Ground Zero, talk about Epstein. I don't think I'm going to do it. So coming up after the show tonight, when I'm finished with you, is a couple of books, a couple of authors. One is a story, A Killer at My Door, The Dramatic Prison Break and Manhunt for Convicted Murderer, Danilo Cavalcante. That's a pretty interesting interview, okay? And then coming up right after that will be Smitty, My Marriage to Serial Killer Charles Schmid, the Pied Piper of Tucson. Now, what do you call it? What do you call it? That's that. If you've ever seen the TV movie called The Todd Killings, and Richard Thomas is in it. It's about this guy in Tucson who drives around in a dune buggy and he's killing all these kids. It's about that movie, but this is 10 times wilder than the movie. The true story is 10 times more wild than the fake story of this. You got to check that out. So that's what's coming out tonight. Then I taped yesterday with this woman, very nice lady, man. And her story is the Dumond Affair, How Lies and Politics Freed a Killer. And it's about this guy back in the 80s who raped and killed this young girl. And they tried to blame it on the Clintons and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy stuff. And the woman was so nice, too, the author. But I tell you, man, I wasn't feeling good. And then right before the interview, I got this message. The high school my daughter was in they tried to get everybody in college. It was a magnet school, charter school, I guess you call it, right? And so they would they would just want to guarantee that these kids would get into the University of Reno. They could get them in there, and then they would go there for a couple of years and go down to University of Las Vegas, UNLV. So then they would have a good diploma from a good college. But my daughter was, she was a high achiever. So she went to American University in Washington, D.C. So one of her friends, he actually came to work for me one summer and helped me out. And he went to school in Reno for conservation, okay? Conservation sciences, things like that, the environment, things like that. And so he just got his first job, his first real career, and it's in forestry in northern Arizona. And last week, he just found out, he's up there, he's got an apartment, he's got a girlfriend, he's got a car, and he finds out the last minute, hey, you're fired, because of these Doge cutbacks, And you hear this, and you think, oh, boy, that sucks, man. That poor guy, he'll get another job. I'll write you a letter. I'll give him a reference if you need me. I'll help you out. And even if he needed to come stay here for a few months, you could do that, But this is such a horrible situation. And when you start, I'm talking to his mother, the mother and father are divorced. I'm talking to both of them separately. And how bad the situation is for this kid. First of all, the college, his majors in college were designed to go work for this Department of Government. Okay, so his education now is really worthless. He has to go find a different career because there's nowhere to work for this. Okay, if they're cutting down in this area, because what you do is you get this diploma to go work at this job. That's part one. Part two is, he's got a girlfriend. She was working for the same department, and she's fired too. And her sister is a bartender waitress, and now she's not getting any tips because half the town has just been laid off. Okay, and there's no other. It's not like people grew up. They didn't grow up there. They don't live there. They moved to this town, so then they have no reason to stay there. Except that then now they got to break their lease on their apartment, okay? And also, too, they were telling me that, he still has stuff at the pawn shop, that you're never going to be able to, he's going to fly back there and then pay it off and take it out, It's just like one thing after another. And his relationship with the girlfriend is new. And, but does she come with him now? Did they break up? And what tragedy. What tragedy. Someone's life utterly turned upside down. You do the right thing. You graduate high school, you work hard, you go to college, you graduate, you apply for the job, you have the career you've been planning for the past 4 years. You get it. You're good at it. They need these people. And by the way, too, they're telling me that they laid off all the new people, okay? All the new people got fired right away. So the only people there are the old people, and a lot of the work they have to do is they have to travel into these remote areas and do repairs and I don't know what they're doing, studies, whatever. I don't know. Okay, but whatever they're doing, these old guys have been there 30 years. They're too old to do it. They can't physically do it. So, it's just chaos. Complete insanity and chaos. It just makes no sense, man. And so anyway, I was like, before this interview with this poor woman here, and I'm hearing all this stuff. So I was a little distracted during the interview. You can listen carefully. But the book is great, The Dumont Affair, How Lies and Politics Freed a Killer. So check that out. Be sure and check that out. Let's see how we're doing here. Get this. I'm being contacted all over the place for some sudden reason. Okay. For a documentary film about anthrax and a podcast about anthrax. I just got contacted too. Clyde Lewis wants me to come on the show tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do it. There's so many commercials on there. They hardly ask any questions. Yeah. Yeah, you hardly get to really answer what's going on. How about Andrew Tate, man? They said that the Trump administration paved the way for Andrew Tate and his brother to leave Romania, and they showed up down here in Florida, which, I don't know if people realize, but they just got hit with brand new charges that they were trafficking a kid, like a 13-year-old. So I don't know if that's out there in the mainstream yet or what. I think I'm going to be too sick to do Clyde Lewis tonight. Let me see. I'm not going to ask him what time. I'll be nice about it. Before I forget, one more thing about the binder, the Epstein binder. I'm supposed to be releasing these new documents and files. By the way, there is no list. And even now, they're starting to admit there's no list. Okay, so I tell just on that. But one of the theories that they're floating out there, they got Glenn Beck, that freaking genius. The theory is that SDNY is sabotaging the release of the binder info, which is possible because you get only exclusively for me. You get the information about that Rudy Giuliani worked for what do you call it? Worked for Epstein and Hoffenberg over at Tower Financial. So that's one of the things that I think I'm going to do that to Clyde Lewis tonight. Why not? Maybe I'll get some new Patreons, okay. Okay. Okay, sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm writing some notes here. Oh, God. All right. Well, let me tell you what else happened this week. Another freaking stupid headache, completely and utterly out of the blue. The work I've done in real life, okay, that I'm going to be interviewed about tonight, about the Epstein stuff. And the topics I've brought to you on the air on this show, a lot of stuff exclusive the first time you've ever heard it. And what kind of thanks do I get? Okay, what kind of thanks do I get for this, man? Nothing but constant harassment, stalking, and even well-meaning people, who contact me. Like right now, nobody's contacting me about this Epstein stuff. Ed, what do you think? Listen to you don't listen to the show, do you? Because if you did, you'd know what I thought. Okay, let me go over here. Oh God, but now I got to do a solo show for you. So I get an email on Saturday morning. Okay, because I did a show last Friday night. I think last Friday night I might have aired the A.J. Weberman show, is what happened. So years and years and years and years and years ago, I did an interview with this fellow named Steve Hager. And he was the editor of High Times magazine for a period of time. And me, I go back, with High Times and Tom Forsyth era, and all that stuff. And so he came on the show, and it wasn't that great of an interview. First, he starts off with this whole thing is that everyone he's ever dealt with in his life is some kind of spook or some kind of agent. Okay, I pretty much say the same thing. So I was kind of agreeing with him, and I was kind of saying, well, what about this guy? What about that guy? And one of the people we definitely disagreed about was Timothy Leary, whom I think by now everyone agrees by all indications that this guy was some kind of agent. He was kicked out of Algiers over these suspicions. His entire public career, he had an open marijuana case. This escape thing here, I talked to people who knew people that were there at the escape, and they said that the guy wasn't out of breath. He was sitting at a bus stop where he just climbed down some telephone pole wires. Okay, you know what I mean? That theory. And then he goes on that tour with the CIA guy there who was G. Gordon Liddy. So there's no doubt the suspicions about Leary. Okay. But I also heard a story about a guy who, he was in the middle of a pot deal. Cops show up at the apartment. Everyone gets arrested, and he walks away. He walks right out. And they pointed to the guy, when I was a kid, I was about 18 years old. They say, see that guy? Don't ever deal with that guy, man, because he was, in that case, in that one instance, he had made some kind of deal with the cops, okay? Now, it's possible that the guy who told me this, the guy told me was Fred Gotbetter, who was a very well-respected yippie, until heroin took him down. But he's the one that told me. I was doing a lot of business with Fred. Maybe Fred was lying to me over a financial greedy. He didn't want me doing business with this other guy. Maybe that was it. I don't think so. Not at that time of his life. And, I don't think he was that. I don't think he would want to destroy his reputation in such a way. So this name came up in our interview. And, I didn't come right out making any allegations, but you can kind of read between the lines. You can listen. You look for Stephen Hager interview, Opperman report. It's up. I just replayed it this week. Okay. Then he starts going off about the Lincoln assassination and the cannabis cup, and that the Holy Grail was really marijuana. So I really didn't have any interest in any of that. And then about a month after that, I can say when this was, because it was a short time later when October 1st, shooting in Las Vegas happened. And this guy, Stephen Hager, he's posting some stuff on his Facebook there, because, we had become Facebook friends. And he was just posting stuff that was just completely 100% inaccurate. I remember one thing was had been debunked days earlier, because in the hotel rooms in Vegas, they have an alert that shows up down the security office if your hotel door, if your room, the door to your room is open for too long. They get an alert. So this had been misreported as an alarm, and Hager was posting on Facebook that there's an alarm blasting on the floor. There's an alarm going off. And how did this happen? And I tried to explain to him, no, man, that's not right. And he gets all pissed off at me because this guy knows everything, right? So Saturday morning, he wakes up and he writes this. I once did an interview with Ed Opperman, a private investigator, and cog in the Tin Foil Hat Patrol. Much to my surprise, he began talking about Lance and him hanging out at Yippie headquarters in the late 60s. In the late 60s, I was 7 years old. In 1969, I was 7 years old. My whole life, the only person I've known named Lance was a little 2-year-old boy that my mother babysat for in the Bronx when I was about 10 years old. In the interview, you can listen for yourself, and I tell him I started hanging out at Yippie headquarters in the late 70s and early 80s, so not the late 60s, and not with some guy named Lance. Now, it turns out who he's talking about, this Lance guy, was a member of the Black Spades. Now, maybe he's thinking Lance is Africa Bambaataa. Now, I don't know. About 10 years ago, 12 years, when I first started doing the show, the Black Spades did have a headquarters in my building where I grew up in the Bronx, okay, when I was a little kid. But I left the Bronx when I was 13. Okay, but prior to that, they definitely had a headquarters, and Africa Bambaataa was the head of the Black Spades. Now, my brother-in-law, who was my sister's high school sweetheart, he swears that the guy we're thinking of, who I always thought was named Fat Steve, okay, but that he swears that guy who was the head of the Black Spades in our building was Africa Bambaataa. I've had other guests on here who were involved in all that discussion who caused questions in my mind if my memory is accurate. Okay, so I don't know. But it definitely wasn't a guy named Lance, and it definitely wasn't in the late 60s. That I know. Okay. Lance was a budding left-wing community organizer connected to the Black Spades. He would soon discover the B-Boy Revolution and take the name of an older Black Spade leader named Bambaataa, who has disappeared like a snow devil in a winter storm, although there is a photo of him at the Howe Avenue powwow. Okay, I know nothing about any of this and how this involves me. Midway through the interview, I realized Opperman was most likely some intel op, as he supported some of the most obvious wingnut launched by Intel's tinfoil hat patrol, which had been created by the CIA following the JFK assassination. Black magic, UFOs, alien visitation, and satanic rituals are the go-to memes deployed. Now I just remembered what happened with this interview. He started trashing Dave McGowan, is what happened. He started trashing Dave McGowan, okay? And that was not well received by my audience. I know he got a lot of flack over that, but anybody who knows me, I don't do any shows about black magic or UFOs or alien visitations. It's just totally made up. And then he starts to say, said that when Lance Bambaataa relayed the history of New York street gangs to me, he couldn't muster the name Benji Melendez. I have no idea what he's talking about here. But replaced him with the story of a murder of his mentor, Solsky, who had been killed by police during traffic stop, as if that event would have led to the end of the gang wars and not the Benji Ho Avenue Peace Conference. I have no idea what he's talking about. After I published the first history of hip-hop, it made me sadder to visit the website of BAM's Zulu Nation because it was stuffed with the worst information possible. A lot of alien visitation and black magic, but zero real information or enlightenment. Okay. The Zulu site praised the fraudulent book Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper, which had a lot of fake alien visitation and Illuminati material. I'm not aware of Bill Cooper talking about aliens, but maybe. Okay. I also didn't get along well with Bill Cooper. There was also black Muslim propaganda. The founder was likely a CIA asset, and his minions cooperated with police in the assassination of Malcolm X. The shotgun shooter who killed Malcolm X came from a temple in New Jersey and was kept hidden and spent the rest of his life as an undercover informant with some patsies. Were quickly picked up. I can't believe my name is associated with all this. Eventually, he got two new trials and was exonerated, but the real killer has never been exposed while he lived. It made me even sadder when BAM's original Crate Boys began to speak out. about how he groomed and sexually abused them. The first to speak out was Tony Bell, known as Islam. He was swiftly assassinated to shut down the story. That caused even more allegations to emerge, destroying the minds of innocent teens as something that can't be swept under the rug. And thanks to changes in statute of limitations for child abuse, by the way, those are the kind of cases I work on in real life, and I don't just write about them on Facebook, old man. Bombada has disappeared and gone into hiding to avoid many lawsuits filed against him. If you search for it, that Opperman interview is worth listening to, because partway in, I began grilling the host over the Sandy Hook school shooting that he discovered I was supporting the Alex Jones theory. It was a staged event and nobody died, which caused me to blow my top. There's no blowing any top during this interview. This is his imagination. We never discussed Sandy Hook. I've discussed my involvement with if you go to my show, Hookers and Blow, that's about the nuts around the Sandy Hook case that were driving me crazy. And I've done many, many shows exposing Alex Jones. I was supposed to interview his ex-wife. You know, this is just insanity. I'm supporting Sandy Hook and saying nobody died at Sandy Hook, and I'm a fan of Alex Jones. What a weirdo this guy is, man. Another prime member of this squad would be A.J. Weberman, the anti-Dylan, who dug a lot of rabbit holes in the Jeff Cassidy session. And another would be Dave McGowan, author of a fraudulent book, Laurel Canyon, and the first one to push mass terror events as staged by crisis actors, and the first to push We Never Landed on the Moon. Dave was definitely not the first to publish any staged events. He saw Boston bombing. He had some questions about it. And then what do you call it? He's definitely not the first to talk about We Never Landed on the Moon. But this guy, I guess he's old and he's senile, and he's a mess. And if you go and look, Steve Hager, and you go to look at his Facebook page, you can see that right before he wrote this, he does a little a mention of that guy that was pointed out to me as being a snitch. Okay. Coincidence, not coincidence, I don't know. I don't know what this guy thinks he has going on in my life. Steve Hager to sit there and mention to me after 10 years with some crazy nonsense out there. I'm 7 years old at Yippee headquarters with a guy named Lance. Okay, that I support Alex Jones. The thing is, what I'm trying to get out, if you don't like me, fine. If you don't like me, fine. You can not listen to me. You can listen and hate me throughout the whole show. You could write things about me on Twitter and Facebook and all these things, but at least tell the truth. Say what it is you really don't like about me. Don't make things up. Why do you gotta make stuff up? If you don't like me so much, there's got to be another problem. Okay? All right? Anyone else talk about my credentials of working behind the scenes on the right side of history? I'm going to watch. I'm going to blow up on poor Ground Zero tonight. I'm going to flip out on that guy. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm kind of weak. I don't know if I can get through this. Ground Zero tonight. Why did I agree to that? I shouldn't have. One of these other issues that we have to be concerned about is DeSantis this week deputized the Highway Patrol as federal agents that they could work with immigration and bring in immigration cases. Now, a lot of people don't know that there's a couple of things. Highway Patrol in many states are deputized by the feds, part of a federal drug task force. And because marijuana is illegal federally, if you get pulled over in a state where marijuana is legal, because that cop's a fed, they can still arrest you. Okay? And in Florida, they can search your car just by saying, we smell marijuana in your car. Now we have a right to search, so of course they're going to smell it. All right? Now, but what scares me about this federalizing these local cops, that makes Trump in charge of them. And we just saw how crazy he was today. Today he was unhinged. I watched this thing live, and I was at the edge of my seat, man. It was terrifying, okay? So what do you call it? And then when they had the the George Floyd and the BLM protest under Trump, he created this ragtag bunch of cops that were prison guards and Department of Corrections and U.S. Marshals and DEA, and they didn't really have the right insignia or identification on them or badges, and they were just running around doing demonstration patrols under the direction of the feds. And we can only see things getting worse this time around. Worse than last time. So that's another thing we got to really keep our eye on, man. This deputizing federal cops. But who do we turn to for this, man? Who's out there that's going to stand up for this, especially when you're taking down one of the lonely voices out here screaming against it? Like me and Hager, we're supposed to have the same politics, at least around marijuana, And he's going to make up stuff about me, man. For why? For what purpose? To cover up from your buddy over there? Is that it? Like what? What's the deal? And at least if it is to cover up for your buddy, complain about something I've really done. Okay? I just make up stuff in print. It's made up in print. Gene Hackman, okay, who was an actor who I loved, man. I love that movie, The Conversation, man. When that thing first came out, that's what, when I first saw it, at least, man, when I was into surveillance and counter surveillance, because that first office I worked in Brooklyn, that was his specialty, was bug sweeps and stuff like that. So Ray Malucci, who was a notorious bug sweeper guy, and usually the guys who put the bugs in also take them out. Let's put it that way. And he used to come by the office all the time when he looked at his equipment and stuff like that. I'd spend thousands of dollars on that freaking equipment, man. I was so paranoid. So Gene Hackman, man, great movies, man, great stuff. So they find him and his wife and his dog. They're dead. It's got to be at least 70 days because it takes quite a bit of time to mummify. And pills all over the ground and a dead dog and a dead wife. Who knows what's going on there, man. So shout out to you, Gene Hackman. And last but not least, so much happening this week. So much crazy in the news. Newsy. Let me see here. Dan Bongino. Everybody knows Dan Bongino because he's got that stupid podcast on the Fox News show where he makes that face and he's angry and he talks about what a great investigator he is, right? But Dan Bongino comes out of Queens. I know people who knew Dan Bongino when he was NYPD. Okay, he's a lot younger than me, this guy, too. He worked traffic at NYPD. He pulled people over and he gave them tickets. That's what this guy did for NYPD. When he went to U.S. Secret Service, he was a driving instructor. Okay, and when you look at this, and it used to say all this on his Wikipedia page, it's been scrubbed and puffed up a bit. And it's only been involved in a couple of cases, serious operations his whole life. And he's taken that into this cartoon character that he's portrayed himself at here. But this guy here, who was a driving instructor for U.S. Secret Service, is now the deputy director of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I tell you, this makes me want to go back out and do crime. This would be the perfect time, to get back into the old crime business. Because there ain't nobody out there doing anything, man. There ain't nobody, man. People be getting away with murder, man. So, good old Jeff Bongino. Dan Bongino. Who now he's the deputy who's in charge of releasing these Epstein files here that everybody wants to talk about so desperately. Where's my notes? I might have deleted them. Oh, there you go. So there's a picture of him. Remember that whole case where the New England Patriots guy, the owner of the New England Patriots, got busted at a massage parlor over there in Florida, and the reason why he got busted, the attention started to go on this massage parlor, was because the women who were working in this massage parlor were living in there, and they were pretty much being, like trafficked, against their will, because. And you didn't like that. Well, I didn't look at it. Okay, what do you call it? Come on, where is this? The reason why the attention, the cops brought their attention down on that massage parlor was because the women who were living in there, okay, this is a commercial strip mall, massage parlor, and the women who were living there were cooking from barbecues in the alley behind the place. And that drew attention, and they says, hey, man, this is an unhealthy situation for these women who live in this place. Let's send some police attention down there. Now, it turns out that the woman who previously owned this chain of massage parlors was a woman named Cindy Yang. And it just so happens that she was a very popular woman down at Mar-a-Lago. And there's pictures of her with Trump, and there's pictures of her with Dan Bongino. Okay? Now, when you got a person who's an ambitious person, okay, and my business is sex trafficking, okay, but I'm an ambitious person, and I'm hanging around places like Mar-a-Lago, and I'm there to increase my business and my influence and or my political power, and I want to use everything at my disposal to advance myself. And what does she have at her disposal? She has women that she can sell to men. All right. Now you look at Dan Bongino's face when he's in that picture next to her. He doesn't look so innocent. He looks a little like he feels guilty, like he's a little nervous. He's in a picture with this woman because he knows who she is and he knows what she's doing. All right. That's just my interpretation of this picture. But that's the guy who's running FBI, and that's the guy who's supposed to be releasing the Epstein tapes. Okay, can't trust these guys to do anything. Oh God, there's gonna be a short show tonight, man. I just said I don't have it in me. Let's see if I have any more notes, and then I gotta take a nap or something for tonight. Why did I agree to do this? This is the Pope's getting sicker again. He's on a ventilator. This thing with Zelensky, man, if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and watch it. It's the craziest thing in your life you've ever seen in your life. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the outro music, and then I'll come back, and if I have something more to tell you, I'll... Oh, and the outro stuff here, too. Get this now. When I played last week, I played that song 17 from the first Saturday Night Live episode. And I got an email from a long-time listener. I've known this name for a long time. Liam Farrell. Okay? And it turns out he sends me this message, right? Let me read it. Fun little anecdote. I had a band in college, and we wrote a song that was a derivative of At 17. We sent a letter to Janice along with a CD of the song, asking to work out a publishing split. And she could have had the whole song 100%, not to worry about splitting royalties with it. So, what a cool guy. And it's a really good song, so I really liked it. So, there we go. Let's play that for you now. And if I have more to say, I'll come back.
The lips behind the cigarette, I'd love to know just where they've been. They've stayed away from dirty men and left the lips of lesbian. She lets a little nipple show. She shows it more the coke she blows. I hide behind the cooler kiss and watch her crash and burn. what you want. Oh, do what you want. Do what you want. She came home late on a Saturday night with tears in her face. Try as she might, she couldn't escape those terrible days. She looked at me and she started to say, do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you want. Let's be friends, let's be friends, let's be friends. Do what you want, oh, deep in her eyes. But you want, but she couldn't get away. She started whispering, love me not, love me not, love me not. Just do what you want, do. Hey,
Okay, there's so many little buttons here to click. It's very difficult to keep up. They got to push the right button at the right time. Otherwise, you don't hear me. Yeah? I don't understand why they can't make these radio shows easier for the host. Yeah. Anyway, I can find no more notes, okay? And I got to take some kind of little nap and a shower and make a cup of coffee if this freaking Clyde Lewis thinks in it. Oh, God, you know. But you could tune into that tonight live. You know, I'll be in that. What time I'll be on? But if you if you've ever cared about me, join my Patreon. I need the income. Oh God! And tomorrow's the day we cash it in. So let's see. I'll be on there at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, which is 8 to 9 Pacific time. Listen, guys, I love you. Thank you so much. I look forward to doing a show every week. I really do. And I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to talk about. And then, you know, things go haywire and things come up. But I don't know. I was really pissed off about that whole thing with Steve Hager. And it's one thing to not like somebody or have a complaint with them. It's another thing just totally just make up lies about them, man. It's just, and that's, I guarantee you, man. Anytime you see some crap out there about me, it's made up. Just every single freaking time. Just go out and do the work, guys, yourself, okay? And you don't have to worry about me. Good night.